do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Ladies and gentlemen of Australia and the world, I'm coming to you live outside the Supreme Court of Queensland, where the judgment in the matter of Bay versus APRA and the state of Queensland has just been handed down. And what do we have, ladies and gentlemen? We have absolute and complete victory in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, the mighty person, the Spirit, my Father, the Lord, who has granted me guidance and victory in this matter over the evil ones, that being APRA, the Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency, and the Medical Board of Australia. As of this moment, I am free. I am no longer suspended. I have my registration back again. I can prescribe ivermectin. And most importantly, and this is what APRA is most afraid of, I can criticize the vaccines freely and as a registered medical practitioner of this country. So if I wasn't clear before, APRA, let me be very clear now. The vaccines are bad. The vaccines are no good, and people should be afforded the right to informed consent to choose these so-called vaccines. And if you don't like it, too bad, because doctors like me are going to be speaking out from now on because we have nothing to fear. The judge in this matter, Justice Bradley, God bless his soul, he ruled that my suspension has been set aside. Yes. Not only did he rule that, he's ruled that my investigation has been set aside. He ruled that the costs for this matter would be not only paid to Queensland, but paid by APRA itself. He even ruled that the matter going to the tribunal is dismissed as well. Everything has been dismissed against APRA. Everything is victorious for myself, and I praise God. I praise the Lord for this victory because it is He who guided me, He who represented me in court. But I do want to thank one more person, and that is all of you, all of my supporters who have stood by me for 2 years, more than 2 years, whilst I've been suspended and out of work. It is you who this victory is for. It is you who have earned it. You believed in goodness. You believed in justice. You believed in truth. Some of you believed in God. And together we have won.
Congratulations, Dr. William Bay. Absolutely stunning result. I don't think that Billy even believed he was going to get such a resounding result from the Supreme Court in Queensland. There was not one point that APRA raised that was upheld in the court. Not one. In fact, the judge was scathing in his comments towards APRA. Now, where does that leave you if you happen to be someone who has been affected and your career has been affected by these overreaching bureaucrats on the APRA board? Well, I would say it leaves you in a very, very good position to start considering damages. They're going to be mad if they think they're going to be able to fight this in every court in the land with the amount of people who have been affected in similar ways to Dr. Bay. Now, some were suspended like he was. Some doctors were suspended like he was. Some walked away before they could be suspended. Many nurses, I believe, have been treated extremely poorly through all of this, and it is through APRA coercion that they lost their jobs and continue to be unemployed, even though, especially in Queensland, and I think too, the same is true in Victoria and New South Wales, probably every state, that our health system requires nurses. And after the great scary cough saga, many of those nurses left and may never return because of the ridicule that they suffered from the people they worked with and respected the most. But I think this is going to put a smile on many of their faces. And when APRA goes down with its beliefs, Just imagine what sort of other governmental organisations who have made these kind of determinations over the last 4 years. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I might be thinking the airline industry in some regards there. It too will have some connotations stretching back into the medical side of the CASA and TGA organisations, of course. The TGA bucking all responsibility at this point in time. Something that isn't bucking responsibility at this time is the price of gold and silver. And thanks to Ainsley Bullion, marvellous folks that they are, you can see right here that gold still seems to be going on its way up, $4,214.17. The silver spot price is down fractionally from what I saw yesterday, I think it was. It was just over $50 per ounce yesterday. It's back down to 48.5. But there has been something interesting I saw pop up in the chat there earlier. I think it was Sandy. Hello, God love you, Sandy. I think it was Sandy mentioned, has anybody noticed that when silver and gold go down, Bitcoin goes up, or crypto goes up, and vice versa? Well, I would not venture to speak too deeply on that subject without having the waving wonder join me. There he is, in the darkness tonight. How are you, brother?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Very good to hear. All right, so is what Sandy said. I think it was Sandy. I'm attributing her, but I might be talking out of turn. Somebody in the chat said, crypto goes up, gold and silver go down, gold and silver go up, crypto goes down. Is that how it works?
There is a correlation there to some degree, but not always, right? Because when silver was going up, so was Bitcoin at one stage. So, yeah, you can't really put that there. So as far as assets are concerned, they're two separate markets. There's not that many people who play both silver and crypto, or gold and crypto, right? The bigger investors, maybe, but a lot of little people, no, not so much.
I see. So you're talking about the people who are actually actively watching the lines, that is the price lines, and they are selling and multiple times a day, buying and selling different precious metals or crypto.
Yeah, effectively, right.
Yeah.
Don't take that for gratis. I mean, I'm not one of those who does it either. So I look at silver and gold as a long-term investment. I look at crypto as short-term. It can be long-term, but you have to understand that the bull market will finish in another 6 months or so, and then all the cryptos will drop 70 or 80%, whereas gold and silver won't make that sort of a dip.
No.
Does that make sense?
It do indeed. Hookstagram, congratulations being first in the room today. We should be celebrating the Ocker-sounding Australian accent. Yeah, mate, couldn't be more on it. I agree. And in fact, I had cause today to be in a place to do some registrations of things. And one of the forms that I had to fill out was if I identified as Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander. I said no to that one. There was another form. Or another part on the form, did I identify as someone who was a minority and needed help? And I ticked yes to that one. And I didn't need a translator. As it turned out, I was able to get in and out pretty much unscathed. So it goes to show you can tick just about whatever box you like. Nobody reads it. We've got a budding, well, I'm not sure whether or not she is already into stacking with silver, but we actually have a little ingot, a silver bit of bullion, thanks to Pete from Pinaroo, that we are giving away to the Sabinator. Now, Sab, we haven't seen you in the chat, I don't think, since we announced that you won this. So please, Vince has it in his hot little hand. It's burning a hole. He needs to send it to you. He's that kind of man. All we need is an address to get it to, mate. So congratulations, and just let us know, and we'll get that one off to you. Tony, how are you, mate? I hope you are well, and well, I don't know how warm it is in Melbourne at the moment, but I hope life, the universe, and everything treats you well down there. And I hope you and the family have a wonderful Christmas, mate. I'm sorry I didn't get to spend much time with you at the My Place get together. It was just one of those events, unfortunately. Everybody catches up, you start talking, and unless you happen to bump into somebody at the tree or at the barbecue or at the bar, And in my case, the Polish people were in charge of the bar. It was a very dangerous place to be around. Good men like you would have stayed well clear. But anyway, we'll do it again soon, I have no doubt. Hello, Margot. Sorry you missed out on the silver, but lovely to have you as part of the show. Dave O, hope you're doing all right, brother. The eyes are not working terribly well, I know, but you're still able to listen, so I appreciate what you're doing. Sandy, God love you, woman. It was Sandy who said about the crypto and gold. I hope you and Baz are doing all right and loading up for Christmas. I still have a bus absolutely crammed full of material for animals, so first aid sort of stuff for animals, and I'm catching up with the wildlife people early next week, so looking forward to that. We'll do a little bit of a transfer of some stuff. They're giving me some, I'm giving them some, and we'll have some news on further wildlife caring things happening in this neck of the woods in the not too distant future. Looking forward to talking about that on Red Alert. Howdy, Scotty the News, Paul Orchard, Daniel, I hope things are going well for you in Canberra, mate. Chaos is in the house, Ads is in the house, and Barbara, DM, Mr. Grace, nice to have you in, and J1, Toxic's in the place too, so looks like we've got the whole crew. J1, I said that, didn't I? Good to see you all in. Hello, Michelle, lovely to have you in, our moderator, or one of the girls tonight. And Youthfully, Corruption Whistleblower Newspaper. I actually believe there's, if you haven't seen the Corruption Whistleblower yet, get yourself a copy of it. And I think it's the corruptionwhistleblower.com.au online. But I've had a good look through it. And the first edition is well, in fact, Vince, I think I left one in the back of your car. The first edition has a number of really, really useful things for you to be able to put up, hang around your house or around your office, and give you instant access to some great knowledge. So well worthwhile reaching out for the Corruption Whistleblower. In fact, I'd love to get somebody from there on for a chat and help promote. And the Light is out today, I think, or out recently. And there is a news story on the front of that you really want to avail yourselves of. So I won't go in and steal their thunder, but yeah, they're out at the moment, all going very well indeed. Ainsley Bullion, just while we're talking about it, Ainsley Bullion do have some specials on at the moment. They've got specials going on all the way up till Christmas. And while I've been trying to, here we go, I'm trying to find the list, I'm going to have to do it a different way. Some weird things are going on with my computer at the moment, kids, and I'm going to have to get the Waving Wonder over there to help me try and find out what's going on, because, like I say, some very weird things are happening. I'll have to bring that up again. We'll bring that up shortly. I've got to open another program now. It's all getting a bit too difficult. All right, so let's launch into a few things that are happening around the world. I guess many people will have come across this bit of news. Some virus samples went missing from a Queensland lab, major biosecurity breach. Now, what sort of samples were those viruses? Well, they were the Hendra virus and then some other virus and another bat virus and all that sort of stuff. And now today, Queensland Health has issued an urgent warning over a potentially deadly virus being carried by flying foxes, as bats stricken with the virus are literally falling out of the sky. Now, where I happen to live, there are a lot of bats. We haven't seen any bats falling out of the sky. Got to be thankful that they don't seem to have whatever particular virulent disease this happens to be. However, isn't it been interesting that we've had a huge sample, not just one or two samples. There are 300 samples gone missing from a biosecurity lab where they were researching bat diseases, and now all of a sudden we're getting told that bats are flying around and could potentially do us harm. Now, we know the Hendra virus is already capable, supposedly, of jumping to humans, and then there is another school of thought completely that says viruses don't exist at all. You make up your mind. I guess if you catch something bad from kissing a bat, you'll be able to give us an informed opinion. I don't know. You don't kiss too many bats down your way. You don't get them your way, do you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
oh, you do?
I've got a palm tree in the backyard that's huge, and we have a lot of bats that decide to live in there during summer. So yeah.
Very nice. Well, we've got about 40,000, about a kilometre to my left. And they do pop out quite a lot. Interesting new study has come out involving 1.7 million children. It's found that myocarditis and pericarditis only appeared in children who had received the spicy cough mRNA jab. Not a single unjabbed child in the group suffered from any of these heart-related problems. Is anybody truly surprised, Vince?
No, but we should say that that is put out by Dr. Simone, and it is a registered doctor and therefore has the rights to do that, YouTube, because we know where your censorship goes. So we're just going to say that while we are putting this up as news, it is not something that we confirm or deny. And yeah, so as we go through and I start putting up some stuff on the FBN channel, you may find areas where things are blanked out because it'll be against YouTube's policies. Not the truth, just their policies. And that's my opinion and my opinion only. Thank you, YouTube. All right, sorry, go back to it. Oh, by the way, I have the special showing if you want to share the screen.
Oh, you have the special showing. There you are. I'll share the screen. So there you go, the Ainsley specials at the moment. Now, they're going all the way through, I think, till, well, not quite Christmas Eve, but I think Christmas Eve falls on a weekend. So the 23rd, I think they're going through to. So some marvellous specials from ainsleyBullion.com.au. If you leave my name or the Voice of Freedom in your order, if you do it online, you can leave it in the notes section. If you've already done that prior to making this order, then you won't have to do it again. But if you want to make sure, you can. It's not going to hurt. And you will get a little bit of a discount off whatever it is that you are purchasing. And I hope you're doing a bit like me. I hope you're able to help your family learn the value of gold and silver and maybe start stacking. I've got some 1/10 that I'm going to be handing out for Christmas this year to my family. So we'll see how life, the universe, and everything goes there. I mean, they'll lose them inside a day, I have no doubt. But, yeah, get into it, folks, gold, silver. And I noticed somebody, I think it was Dave O, said in the chat there before that his investment in silver has already gone up about 50% from when he started. So that's got to be a pretty good result. I know you were pretty happy with some of the returns you were seeing on your little stack. So God love us, we'll keep pushing. And to all of you who are considering getting into gold and silver, may I urge you to get in sooner rather than later if you have the opportunity. Matt Canavan speaks some sense. The CSIRO has been claiming for 7 years that solar and wind are the cheapest form of power. But how come electricity prices have skyrocketed the more we install solar and wind? Perhaps it's time we stop taking notice of CSIRO's advice at face value. The CSIRO makes questionable assumptions, and when you connect these, coal is clearly the cheapest form of power in Australia. That doesn't mean we should be 100% coal. It just means we should have a sensible energy policy which allows for all energy types to flourish. Energy abundance is how we can get cheaper energy prices. He is 100% on the money, Vince. Then the Liberal Party has come out and released their nuclear plan. So by 2050, Australia can be net zero, but we can be net zero for $260 billion with a B dollars less than the Labor Party plan for renewables and wind.
Yeah, beauty
Where do you
about
sit
that.
with it? I mean, your state probably profits the most from going nuclear.
Considering we pay the highest in electricity, that would be nice.
Queensland will be right behind you, I would have thought.
I don't see why we can't do nuclear. It's not like we're dealing with technology from 50 or 60 years ago when they first started this. A lot more safer now. So, yeah, we should look into it.
They're saying we could have a nuclear capacity, a nuclear power station within 7 years. That would be a pretty good build process, I would have thought, but we don't necessarily have to construct the reactor from nothing. These things now come pretty much pre-built. You've just got to build the building around them.
Yeah, well, you know what Australia's like in building things, freeways that cost $45 billion, etc., because somewhere a lot of that money's going somewhere it shouldn't be, probably. Just supposing.
Ain't that the truth? I'm sure if we got the Aussie Cossacks construction company providers of, labourers onto the matter, he'd do a very good deal for the government.
You reckon the government would accept him? He would be classed as an enemy of the state. Come on, let's be fair. They're not going to give a contract to him.
No. Well, I don't know. He's pretty well connected. Speaking of well connected, there are now 443,000 more new Australians, net new Australians in the country than there were this time last year. This time last year, in the financial year 22-23, that figure was 536,000. So the government is saying that they've brought down net migration or immigration by a little over 100,000 people this year. But does that really bear out true? Well, it doesn't, because there are over 100,000 overstayers of visas in the country at the moment, and no surprises for guessing where most of them come from. Where would you think the most amount of new visas are being issued to at the moment, Vince?
I would guess probably Indian, but I may be wrong. No, look at that. Oh, really?
Visas approved. So they may not be the highest number. I'm sure that there are a lot of student visas and whatnot coming through, but Palestinian visas seem to be order of the day since October 2023, and they continue unabated as far as I can see at this stage. So we'll have to see. New South Wales Premier Nick Minns, I think it's Nick Minns, or it might be Nick Minge or something. He's going to legislate to stop your free speech. Well, you don't have free speech. There are no rights to free speech, but whatever freedoms you think you have, he's going to legislate them away.
We don't have the free speech rules that they have in the United States. We've got strict interpretation of hate speech in the state. If that needs to go further in a legislative sense, that's exactly what I'll do, because I think it's my duty as the Premier of the state to protect what's been built over successive decades, and that is a harmonious community. We just can't put that in jeopardy because some horrific individuals decide to carry out anti-Semitic attacks on the streets of Sydney. Now, I want to make it clear that if we need to change laws in the state when it comes to hate speech, that's what we will do. And I don't do that lightly. It is impinging on people's rights, but we cannot have a situation where with impunity someone can walk down the street, sow division amongst different communities and then gleefully go home whilst the rest of us are left with the implications.
Okay. Define hate. Define hate. How are they going to define hate?
Well, the blue-haired, multiple-nose pierced fucktard walking down the street's going to define how they felt hated because somebody called them a blue-haired, nose-pierced fucktard.
Well, the trouble with all this type of legislation, right, it's really in excess of power. They don't have the power to do that anyway. But, I mean, how can you define hate? It's the same as, like, I chose Indians as the best guess. Now, please, everyone will think I might have something against Indians. I don't. My daughter's fiancé is Indian. He's a great fella, right? But what I do have a concern about is where do we house those 450,000 people that come in? Because we don't have enough houses now.
And our Labor Party is ignoring that very problem. They refuse to acknowledge that, although they'll tell you they're building more houses than ever. The fact is they're not building anything. The government is wrapping up those that would make these developments in paperwork. And, of course, the banks are making it impossible to borrow money. Those who could borrow money, you'd be mad going out at the moment, given what they're doing with interest rates. What chance have you ever got being able to make an investment like that work unless you have a lot of spare cash already behind you. So they are wrecking Australia, this government. They are doing so purposefully. I just wish more people would wake up to it and figure out a way to stop it. Don't know that voting is the way, but, we live in hope. It won't be too much longer, folks. You won't have to bother going to a polling booth to vote. In fact, you won't be needing to go anywhere. It'll all come to you. Here is a new delivery system that's being employed currently by military forces in Europe. I get a sneaking suspicion those little swarms are going to spoil some people's day on the front lines. They're packed with a reasonable enough amount of explosive to make a fairly decent-sized bang. Whether or not they would be able to take out a tank is a different matter, but certainly anti-personnel, they could be used in that regard. And unless you've got a net or you're pretty good with tree branches or clothes or anything you can use to stop those things coming at you, you're likely to get hurt by them, Vince.
Yeah. Well, that raises the questions about the big ones that are apparently floating around US airspace right now. That they
have to be very careful of those ones, don't you? Very careful. I don't know. I didn't bother downloading any of the video of them.
I just find it interesting that they're letting them float around. I mean, I always thought the US would just alien type aircraft, boom, blow it out of the sky. But what? Instead they're spreading it all over the news. Does that indicate that it's like, A, USA is useless, B, that they're just doing a psyop, C, right? We're going to see what anybody believes.
I think there's a bit of Project Bluebeam in all that, folks. Just be very, very aware that there is a lot of other things going on at the moment, particularly in the court system in America, and they are looking to distract you at any moment. What else could be happening that they really don't want you to be looking at? They want you looking up in the sky saying, oh my, look at that. There is one of the weirdest craft you'll ever see. And I can give folks a bit of a picture of it. Here is one of the images. Now, the image at the bottom is probably the clearest of the ship that is in the foreground, the unidentified flying whatever it is. It looks like a rock. And in the background is a helicopter to give you some idea of size. So,
wow,
whatever it is a pretty reasonable size. It's yes. Anyway, keep an eye out. Project Bluebeam, I'm sure if you haven't heard it up, you can go and have if you don't know about it, you can go and look it up and get an understanding of it. But why would they have you looking up in the skies? Well, maybe there's something down on the ground they definitely don't want you looking at.
Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm going to need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes. Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah. Did Jay reach out yet? Nah, Bob. He ghosting. What the f*** is this motherfucker doing? These things sweet now because I'm in here. This is all good. You about to get out on bail. No. Hey, yo, check this out. Need you to reach out to the producer. Let these motherfuckers know there's a release date for that new Netflix movie. Alright, Pop. It's fucking crazy right now. Everybody out there quiet as a motherfucker, huh? Yeah, exactly. We gonna let them have their little fun, but I'm still gonna have the last laugh. What about all these lawsuits, though, Pop? Ain't none of them getting shit. I ain't worth nothing. Ain't got shit in my name anyway. Don't even worry about it. Bunch of money hungry bitches and shit.
What are your thoughts?
The first time I've seen that. I'm wondering how it got out, and I'm wondering if it's AI produced.
All the right questions to be asking yourself. And I would say on the latter question, yes. I believe it to be AI produced. It sounds to me like it is a number of cobbled together conversations and words. The background changes significantly in a couple of the pieces. And I wouldn't be putting too much credence into that being recorded coming out of what would be the same jail system that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in. Not saying it couldn't come out, certainly could, but I would keep an eye on what's going on with Epstein, with Diddy at the moment. Right now, the focus seems to have turned on to Jay and Beyonce. Why? Because Jay-Z was going out with Beyonce when she was like 15 years of age. They do have quite an age difference between them. And, you know, that's not unheard of, I suppose, but given all the other stories about young women and Beyonce's involvement in some of the charges that Diddy is facing, her name has been brought up as being one of those allegedly in the room at the time when certain sodomies were happening. So we'll wait and see whether or not she comes forth in either a witness or a well, it won't be a witness. She'll probably be behind the bar in handcuffs, I would say. So she could be the perp. We'll wait and see what comes out of that. It will be most interesting. I will show you something else that I'm not sure has come from God or has come from the aliens who are just outside our realm of being able to view at the moment. But if it is the aliens, I think they've got a problem with the ship.
Crap, fuel leak.
Yeah. Absolutely fuel leak. So, yeah, I got no idea what could make that sort of thing happen, folks. Weird. But it wouldn't be the first time you'd seen weird on this particular show. Dr. Billy Bay, we started off the show
Brilliant
with his magnificent speech to what was a relatively small group of supporters outside the Queensland Supreme Court. There was no mainstream media there at all. Absolutely none. His speech was suppressed on Twitter as soon as he put it out. They haven't been allowed to upload it onto Facebook and things like that. So
hang on. You said it was suppressed on X.
Yes, it was like downgraded or down tweeted or whatever. I'm not sure if that's changed, but that was
I was going to say that's unlikely. We are talking about X here, the biggest freedom of speech platform there is.
Well, there you go. I'm only telling you what I was told. So I don't know how to drive X, much less care. So we'll go and have a look. But I'm pretty sure it's back up on there still or being promoted still because that's where I got that vision from. It's great news. And we will find out fully what that means tomorrow when Billy Bay comes on for a chat. Now, the plan is to do that at 2:00 Queensland time tomorrow afternoon. However, I made that booking when I neglected to remember I'm meant to be having a birthday lunch with my mother tomorrow. And that might mean that I can't get back here until 3:00. So I've got to have a bit of a chat with Billy and find out if we can punch it back a little bit. If not, I will be here at 2 or as close to as I can be here at 2 to have a chat with the now reinstated Dr. Billy Bay and find out what that really means. Because while it does mean he gets to say doctor again in front of his name and he can prescribe things, his ability to gain work anywhere now has been so severely impacted by the actions of this administrative tribunal that he may never be able to work as a doctor, a practicing doctor again, which would be a very sad thing. So he will, I I think, become a much greater warrior for the whole process, for enlightening and awakening other people within the medical fields, and those people who are already awake enough and know what's going on, and who, for whatever reason, didn't decide to go as publicly as Billy did, but resigned, finished work, retired, stopped doctoring completely. Well, this might be a way back if that's what you choose to do, because ARPA have had the nuts taken clean out of them. Not that I think they've ever had nuts. That's the last thing they've got. They were cowards hiding behind pens, doing the bidding of a foreign-owned corporation. Truly disgusting that it got, this far down the track and caused so much damage in Billy Bay's life. But today he has been vindicated. And to the trolls that would be saying, oh, nothing you ever say comes true. Well, there's another conspiracy factualist that has gone through the Queensland Supreme Court and been found true, has won his case. And those that tell the lies that you believe, trolls, have been found wanting. Now, if your little brains can't figure that out and go and do a little bit of research and make you think, well, gee, why am I swallowing everything else the government is telling me? Then you can't be helped. And stop annoying those of us that are trying to do something about it. Well, you're not really annoying us. You provide moderate levels of entertainment on very slow days, if I'm honest. So, and Vince has told me I'm not allowed to fuck with you anymore. So,
yeah. Vince is also going to be putting up an ad that he has to play. So when you start seeing that come through, understand it is not Carl's choice, because I've told him every time after I've made this ad, every time that he doesn't play it, I will be putting a little kick up the butt on the scorecard. All right, so that beware, that's coming. But I do want to say one thing about Billy Bay and this win. Right?
Yes.
How is YouTube going to treat this now that there is a Supreme Court ruling that says that the word virus and COVID can be mentioned freely? Does it mean that their policies are going to override a Supreme Court's ruling? So I've got to ask that question, YouTube. Are your policies greater than a Supreme Court ruling in Australia? Does that mean in Australia we can say this now and your policies can't stop us? I'm just asking the question.
You're certainly going to help us find out.
Yeah, I suppose. I'll see how many strikes I can get on FBN.
Yeah. Well, you'll get them on Voice of Freedom now, so we'll get them all around, mate. Yeah, you're quite right. But will YouTube, being an international conglomerate, alter its terms and conditions for just Australia? Well, it is possible, because Telstra have done it and the Combank have done it. They have each come through and decided they're going to put restraints on you when it comes to identification and what you can say using their services.
And NAB as well. National Australia Bank's done it as well.
Right. Yeah. Now, bear in mind, none of these Online Safety Act amendments have been adopted yet. They haven't even gone through a first reading. But they are exactly the same to the ones that were pushed back against just before Parliament rose a couple of weeks ago, and they are the mis and disinformation bills, which were, aside from being rammed through the Senate, back into the House and then back into the Senate by the Labor Party, it was very clear that it had lost all support from the criminals on the Liberal side of the party, and it was never going to get through. Well, they're just doing it a different way, and for some reason, these corporations are acting like it's already law. Now, being private corporations, they have the right to change their terms and conditions at any time. So I'm a little confused as to where that would leave us if we were to push back against them at all. Because being a private company, you can change your terms and conditions whenever you like, to whatever you like. They're just getting ahead of things a bit. Well, I think they are infringing on a lot of people's rights with these new conditions.
I'd agree, but it's a contract, right? And
well,
under contract law, you cannot disadvantage one party of the contract. Just people don't know this.
So your contract with, I gather, NAB, but certainly with the Commonwealth Bank, if you agree to their terms and conditions, you are signing a contract that agrees for them to keystroke your devices. They are going to know every button you hit, everything you do inside their app, it says. They will have full and complete access to your accounts and what you do with them. Now, is that something you want?
No, but if you don't push back, right? If they put out, oh, we're making these changes and this is going to happen in 30 days, blah, 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 right? By not going back and saying, no, sorry, I don't agree with that, then you've automatically accepted it. And that's how they get around it in law. Because you don't say, no, sorry, no, I don't agree with that. Because now you're putting me at a disadvantage. So theoretically, by not replying and just accepting the changes in terms and agreement, right, you're being put at a disadvantage. But if you choose not to say, hey, I'm being put at a disadvantage, right, then you automatically accept. And that's how they get it, implied consent. There's a lot of implied consent in most places, including courts and whatever. So, I mean, why do we have to become lawyers? Honestly, can't we find honest people out there that will do the right thing?
I would agree. I like J1's idea, become your own bank.
Yep, that's a good idea.
That could work very nicely. Bit of gold, bit of silver, mix them up, do both. There's plenty
a nice
of it.
Little 125th Perth Mint commemorative coin available on Ainsley. I just bought 4 of them for my kids.
Merry Christmas, kids.
Yeah, but the reason being that, now I've given away the Christmas present. That wasn't smart, was it?
Do your kids watch the show?
Possibly, yeah. But yeah, but it's a nice 150,000 of them are being minted, so they're going to be a bit of a collector's item. So
yep. Yeah. And something else that if you have somebody in your life who is going through a bit of pain, suffering a bit of pain, then the X39 patches, I can't commend to you enough. And in fact, I've just seen the ticker going across the bottom, and I need to apply one to my shoulder as we speak, because I've been lying on this particular shoulder in a weird way because I've had the cast or the exoskeleton on this arm. And I think what I've done is moved my rather reasonable bulk on my left shoulder at some stage in the night, and I've pulled a muscle or 3 in the shoulder, and this gives me tremendous relief in there. I have been wearing them for the last 6 weeks or so, 2 a day on either side of my wrist. When I went and had the x-rays done the other day, the doctors were very impressed with the level of bone growth that I had and the strength of my bones as they're growing back. It didn't feel real strong to me, I've got to be honest, but they said for the volume of damage that I've done on the wrist, which is a significant amount, without needing surgery, touch wood, I've really repaired very quickly. So I didn't bother mentioning the X39 patches, I believe, are doing a great job, but I've also been bathing myself in comfrey, well, a couple of times a day as well, too. So I believe it's all been helping me repair my damaged bones and ligaments and everything else that's in my wrist. And certainly from a pain perspective, the X39s have taken all the pain out of my wrist when I've had them. I've put them on particularly the bad break points, which was here and here. And it took all the pain out of the thumb and up into my wrist to a point now where I'm not wearing them on my wrist. I'm feeling happy not to. Today is the first full day I've had my arm out of the exoskeleton. I've got to say I'm a bit nervous when I'm out. It's still quite sore in places to touch, and I'm a bit worried about some of the mud around here as I walk around and do things, so I don't want to slip over, wind up on my ass and putting this wrist down to try and break the fall. So I'm still a bit nervous about that, but I've only got to chase 2 ducks a day, and, well, 2 ducks twice a day at the moment. And you should have seen this morning, Vince. You would have been very proud of me. I was up at Kookaburra Fart to go drenching the goats. 47 of them, to be exact.
Welcome to farm life, Carl.
Well, I had no idea that goats were a bit like sheep, that when you put them into their pens and you try and get them into the race, some of them don't want to go. I mean, this is a lifelong experience for them. They're not first timers. This wasn't a virgin processing of, goats needing drenching. They all knew what was going to happen. Does it taste that bad that they've got to come at you at 100 mile an hour with their horns out and all that sort of shit?
Oh, yeah, mate. Yep. You've got to be very quick on the sidestep. Okay?
Yeah, very quick on the sidestep. We had 2 go over the fence.
Oh,
we
really?
had 2 go over the fence, but what we were giving them today was tick protection. And we give that to them every 3 months. The group that was around us trying to help us get them all drenched, when those 2 escaped, they were considered they'd gone off to commit suicide. Nobody was chasing them. They'd had enough of them by that stage. So
the trick with goats, mate, there's a trick with goats. You got to find out what they really love to eat, and then you bribe them into the pens.
Well, I brought down some nectarines, which I thought would have been absolute. No, not even close. I've got some here that don't mind apples, but only 1 or 2 of them. The rest of them couldn't care less. So I don't know. I'll go and find the oldest, toughest grass I can find, wave that around. They'll probably flock to me.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is that a goat is a goat is a goat is a goat. They all have their own characters. Trust me.
Thank you, Crunch, for the idea. Hire them out. Depending on who we hire them to, we have our doubts whether or not we'd get the same number back again. Some people, if you hire them in the right areas, might turn them into a soup or a stew or, anything else that they can eat over a long period of time, because you'd want to cook them over a long period of time. Trust me. But at the moment, they are going to be chewing their way through at this point, hasn't been seen by goats, untouched by goats at this stage, paddock. And they should love it in there for a month or 2 at least, I would think. But there will be a few ticks down there, so that's why we wanted to make sure that they are well protected. So we'll try and move them in over the weekend. That should be fun to watch. I may even take the camera. Speaking of which camera, that little camera, Vince, that
yes,
we were using while we were away. For people who don't know, we've got a little Osmo Pocket 3 camera that I use. Beautiful. And it comes with a holder, sort of a grip kind of thing. Well, unfortunately, last weekend in Mount Gambier, in spite of the camera not actually coming out of its bag that evening when we took it off to go and have dinner somewhere, I managed to lose this little protective cover for the camera. And I was a bit annoyed about it until today, where it materialized in my backpack, of all places. The backpack that had been turned inside out 42 times by me, by Vince, and by anybody else I whinged to about it that day. At any rate, it has been returned to me. I know I have spirits around me who like to hide things, and I'm blaming Dallas. That's all I'm saying.
Honestly, we went through that backpack. You're kidding me. It was in there.
Yep.
All that chasing around we did in Mount Gambier, and you had Dallas hide it. How dare you?
Very, very disappointed. Very disappointed. He's laughing his ass off.
I bet.
Yeah, that's just the kind of red-headed humor he had. All right. On that note, I will love you and leave you. What are your plans for the weekend?
Well, my first plan is just to remember, please, people, right, that we have a membership at VOF HQ. This is part of these ads that will be coming out, right? And please support people who are out here doing stuff for you so that we can continue to do stuff for you. So go and like FBN .online in YouTube. We also now have a Rumble channel. Please visit VOF HQ, make a donation, or become a member for as little as $1.25 a week. Just keep an eye on what we do. There will be stuff coming through over this next weekend to do with the camps and bits and pieces we did. And a proper ad will be formulated at another stage. And I've got to get Carl to make sure he remembers to put the little links to all of these sites in the description every time he starts a show.
Well, and ordinarily I would, but because of the issue I was telling you about earlier today on the phone, I don't appear to be signed into all the places that let me recover those things. And
we'll have to work on that.
I'm a little confused as to why that would be. In fact, there are a lot of documents I'm just looking to try and find now, and they seem to have disappeared off the face of the earth. I want to put out a bit of a call now that I'm thinking about it. I want to put out a bit of a call for people who are familiar with the Whitsunday People's Council. Now, there is a lady who is within the Whitsunday People's Council. Her name is Heidi. I'm very interested in talking to Heidi. If anybody can hook me up with the Whitsunday People's Council, I've sent some messages through Facebook and through another council monitoring organisation. She put out a very interesting video in September of this year on another channel, and I don't have permission to play it, so I haven't. But I would be very keen to get Heidi on the show and find out how she is progressing some of the cases that she's been working on through the courts at the moment. And she has been having some very interesting success using methods that would at best be described as alternative. So I don't want to put too many words in people's mouths about that, but if you can get me Heidi, or get me to Heidi at the Whitsunday People's Council, then please give her my email address. Dusty, have you got your email handwriting pen thing ready? Carl with a C at vofhq.com will get me. Dusty, I know you're coming to the coast sometime soon. Look forward to catching up. And if you are coming to the Gold Coast, folks, let me know when. We usually go and have a bit of a lunch somewhere at one of the pubs down on the coast. Makes it a lot easier than people having to come all the way out here into the hinterland and dealing with the spiders and the snakes and everything else that we've never seen, but you might on the day you turn up. Actually, having said that, there was a scare last night with a snake. That's part of the reason last night's program was didn't start when it could have, while there was still power, but we thought one of the dogs had been bitten by a snake last night.
And it turned out okay?
Yeah, turned out okay, but that took a very long drive to a vet, followed by another very long drive to a vet who could actually treat for snake bite, because the one initially couldn't treat for it. Who knew? Vets. So check your local vet. If you have animals, folks, and you live in an area where they might encounter a snake, make sure that you have a plan to get your dog, cat, whatever, to a vet, and make sure that that vet is capable of treating with anti-venom a snake bite for your dog. Now, I understand a lot of vets do not carry anti-venom. They do not. They're able to do a blood test that will confirm potentially a bite has occurred. But we, as Cass discovered last night, that that isn't 100% guaranteed. There is another test that those who are capable of treating the dog can do, and that required another 30-minute drive or whatever the hell it was. Thankfully, I think if he had have actually been bitten by at least an eastern brownie, he would have been dead before she got him to the vet, or the second vet. So you don't have time to mess around with these things. If you recognize your animal is acting a bit funny, get them straight to a vet. And it's better to be safe than sorry. And make sure tomorrow that if you have a vet that you normally go to with your favorite little non-human, then make sure that that vet is a treating vet for snakebite. And if they're not, have them recommend the nearest one to you. so that you can make a beeline straight to that vet should it happen. I really hope it doesn't. Soundlight. I see some interesting things about Antarctica. I haven't looked up the final. I'll try and look it up now.
Is that the
final experiment?
Flash round, the final experiment? Yeah. Oh, I haven't checked into that.
I think they arrive on the ice today.
Okay.
Is my recollection. I've forgotten what the website is. myexperiment.org, maybe. No, can't find the website. I'll have to have a look at that later on. I've got it saved somewhere. They are due on the ice today, I'm pretty sure. And then from, I guess it's now until the 21st, I think it is, they're due off the ice. So they'll be looking to see whether or not the sun circles around their position or whether it dips below the horizon. And I see Black Sheep was in the chat earlier. He's made a bet. We'll get $50 out of it one way. We'll get $100 out of it the other. That's very nice of him to make that bet. And I was talking to him today. Thank you, mate, for being there when I need you. It was wonderful to talk to you today. I needed a little spiritual guidance, and I reached out to Black Sheep. He's a marvelous man in that regard. And there is somebody else who's emailing me too at the moment. I won't mention their name, but thank you too for your inspirational writings. They seem to be coming right at the right time. There is just some really weird, interesting, but weird shit going on. And your writings are prophetic. So, yeah, really cool. And Black Sheep, love you, brother. Thank you so much. I call you my spiritual advisor for a reason. And that's because if I do have any kind of question in that regard, you are definitely the man with answers from about 47 different directions. Love you dearly. Jinder Lee, I haven't seen you in the box for a little while, brother. Good to have you on board, and I hope you're doing well. So, yes, we will find out in the coming days. The final experiment is being undertaken. Will we find out? Personally, I have my doubts. I think you've got to stay down there all summer, not just a week. The sun may dip below the horizon. It might only do it on one day, and it might only do it for 5 minutes. But if you don't see it, it never happened. So I would prefer a final experiment that lasted all of summer down there. And I would call that definitive. But these guys are going to give it a good go. Unfortunately, the only Australian that I knew that was going to be part of it had to pull out because of medical advice. He told the people, the medicos giving him that advice, to read between the lines. But unfortunately, the insurance company, better known as a bank, put paid to the whole exercise when they wanted to charge him the fee it would cost to rent a 737 and a medical crew to fly to Antarctica, pick him up if he had some sort of medical episode on the ice in the 5 days they were down there, and fly him back to Argentina or to Chile. Which I want to say was something in the vicinity of $62,000 I think is what he told me. That was on top of the 40+ thousand US it was going to cost him to be part of the final experiment thing. So sorry, Len, we'll have to wait and watch together and see what those results are. But we'll have you on for a chat when that happens, because Len's very, very much a proponent of the global theory of the Earth. And Len has had some experience flying aircraft and, many other things in life. He's a very, very experienced man. So I look forward to having that conversation with him. And I trust you are well, brother. All right, Vincenzo, enjoy your weekend. You'll go off do mad and wonderful things with the kids. Don't spoil the Christmas present for them again. Just saying.
It's all your fault. You let it slip out. You started me on the process of this road. It's your fault. Everybody, we're blaming Carl, aren't we? We're all blaming Carl.
I'm always happy to be blamed, and God knows the trolls at the moment seem to want to blame me for everything except their own incompetence and stupidity. So as long as they keep exercising it, I'm going to keep being amused. But I'm not going to reply anymore, okay? Sorry, Vince.
Well, yeah, just Yeah, I know you like to tease them along, and as long as they take the bait, I suppose I should let you because you have your fun doing it. But all right, I'm going to do the right thing here, guys. I'm going to do the right thing here. And
right.
Go, bye.
Ah, good. That they look, now you're picking your own out point, and he's picking it very, very well. All right, folks, have yourself a wonderful weekend. If you can't join us tomorrow, make sure you come back at some stage and catch up with the Billy Bay interview. But the plan is around 2 o'clock, it might be fractionally after tomorrow, Queensland time, we'll catch up with the now reinstated Dr. William Bay and find out exactly what was handed down, how he has managed to clean sweep essentially everything that was held against him by APRA has been thrown out, and what it means for his life going forward. Dr. Billy Bay, very, very nice man, and you can come and join us tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock, Voice of Freedom. I do owe you a show or two, so don't be surprised if you see us pop up over the weekend. Be safe on the roads. There are a lot of dickheads traveling for Christmas, and, well, some of them don't believe in Christmas.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay?